welcome back to this week's Youth Alive episode. I am so excited to be here and to share with you the amazing segments we have in store for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's episode. And of course, remember, we are Youth Alive.
Hello, guys. As you know, last week on September 22nd, we officially started the fall. And that's why today in Did You Know, we're going to see some cool things, cool facts that we probably didn't know about the fall. So let's see it. Did you know that in the early 1600s, people were calling this season the fall of the leaves? With time, they shortened it to the fall, and that's why we today call it fall. Did you know that those who live close to the equator, which is the center of the planet, never experience the autumn? The temperatures around the equator are constantly warm, so that's why they don't experience fall. When the leaves turn colors in the fall, they're actually returning to the normal color. In the summer months, the chlorophyll present in the leaves gives them the color green and actually blocks the normal colors. All right, guys, I hope you guys learned something new about the fall and that you are as excited as I am for the cooler weather. We'll see you next week, and remember that we are Youth Alive.
The next day.
Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Come on. Hi guys, I'm here at Seven Lanes High School watching their band performing, and I was wondering, what is the curricular activity you do in high school? In my case, I did soccer. How about you?
Hi, my name is Lucy, and I'm involved in cheer at school. And it's really fun because you get to help kids that have cancer and do charity events. And you also get to go to the elementary schools, and you get to be like a role model to all the kids at school. And also, you get to do cheer competitions, and it's really fun because it's like a big family, but at school.
Hi everybody, my name is Giovanni. In high school I used to play baseball. I grew up playing baseball and I really loved it. In high school I loved it a little bit more because I got to play with my friends growing up, and we got to be on the same team. Share some memories. Over my overall experience, I really loved it. I loved being part of the team. Everybody on the team they were all great people, all hardworking. They were all great ball players. I miss it honestly. But yeah, that's my experience in high school and / club baseball.
Let's go! So it is pretty amazing to know that some of you are involved in extracurricular activities in high school and college. Keep doing it. It is pretty fun, and actually, it's a great way to invest your spare time. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget that we are Youth Alive.
Dude, I'm bored. I don't know what to do.
Did you do your homework?
Yes.
Did you read a book?
Yes.
Have you organized your room?
Yes.
Have you watched a movie?
I can find an interesting one.
Can you study more? A little more?
I already studied a lot.
Why don't you play with your sister?
She's not here.
Wait, why don't you then solve this cube?
Solved.
Why don't you then solve this other one?
Solved?
What? Okay, why don't you go outside then?
I can't. It's raining.
Or eat cereal.
You don't have no money.
Why don't you learn a second language?
Eras español.
Wait, why don't you learn like something like, I don't know, origami?
I haven't tried that.
Mm. Welcome back, guys, to another segment of In the Works. Today we're gonna have fun learning how to make sumo fighters in origami. And also, we're gonna learn a simple game you can do with your friends and family in those times that you can find anything to do. And the only things that you're gonna need is paper. So let's get to it. So for this sumo fighter, we're gonna need a square of paper. If you don't know how to get a square of paper, just get a regular sheet of paper and fold the corners, just like that, and just cut whatever is left. So once I have my square of paper, the first thing I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna fold the opposite corners. I'm gonna get the opposite corners so I can find the center of that square. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna take each corner and I'm gonna fold it towards the middle. I'm gonna do that with all the squares. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna take again the corners and fold them again towards the middle. All the 4 corners towards the middle. After that, now we're gonna flip over our square and we're gonna position it like a diamond. So we're gonna take one of the edges and we're gonna fold it towards the middle line, just like this. And we're gonna do the same for the other edge. So once I have that, I'm gonna look at the back of my figure and there's gonna be 2 wings coming out. So I'm gonna take those 2 wings and take them out so it looks something like this. Once I have that, I'm gonna take the top tip and fold it in half. Just like that. So it's going to look something similar like this. Once you have that figure, just make sure everything is correct, and then we are going to fold it in half like this. Right, we're gonna fold it in half, press it, make sure it's well folded, and then we're gonna take that tail and we're gonna fold it up, all the way up, and again fold in half to mark. Then we're gonna take the tail and just gonna take a little bit down, just a little bit down, so we can fold it in half again, and then we're gonna take that tail and we're gonna pull it back down. We're gonna pull that tail down, and that's it. So now gather your friends and family and place 2 in front of each other over any platform. I used to play it because it was easier to tap, but you can do it on a table. And the idea is that you tap as hard as you can, and the first one to fall loses. And that's it. That's how, with just a friend, paper, and maybe colors and a plate, you guys can have fun in so little time. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned a lot, and thank you so much for watching. Remember that if you're bored, it's because you're not really looking. There's a lot of stuff to do out there. So always look for the fun. And remember also that we are
Youth Alive!
Good job.
Guys, I'm back, but I'm born. Oh, bro.
Hi, my name is Kristen Washington. I go to Sam Houston State University. I major in composite science and minor in secondary education.
Hi, I'm Jacob. I go to Sam Houston State University, and I play soccer for the club soccer team.
Hi, my name is Sophie Heine, and I am a senior at Sam Houston State University. I am majoring in health sciences, and I have a minor in general business, and I'm hoping to eventually become a pediatric occupational therapist.
Why do bad things happen to good people?
So I don't think that there are good people. I think that all people are inherently sinful. I think we're inherently selfish. And so, with that perspective of understanding none of us are good and all of us fall short in the God that I believe, then it makes sense as to why not great things happen. It makes sense as to why creation is broken and there is pain and suffering. Um, and when you're humbled by understanding that you're not good alone, and that you need to be dependent on the only one who is good, which is God, then it becomes easier to bear and understand why good things or bad things happen to good people, because what we deserve is much worse. Honestly, I don't really know why bad things happen to good people, but sometimes I just pray and I ask God, maybe He'll tell me the answer, but at the end of the day, I really don't know.
I would say bad things happen to good people because, everyone suffers. No one is perfect. So I'd say bad things happen so that people can learn and teach other people.
Hello, Youth Alive. Welcome back to this week's segment of Upgrade. In today's segment, we are going to start right where we left off last week. We are going to continue to talk about suffering, this time approaching the big question, why do bad things happen to good people? So as humanity, as humans, we are curious about a lot of things, right? And one of those things are questions like this, right? And there is a good God, right? Why do bad things happen to good people? And if I ask you this question, you might come up with a list of assumptions, right? The first one might be, we have good days and we have bad days. We have good days where we can see the sun and we can enjoy, right? Days like today, we can enjoy good things. And then we have bad days. We have days where it's stormy. We have days where school isn't going well. My relationship with my brothers and sisters isn't going well. My relationship with my mom and my dad isn't going well. We have days of days, right? Some of y'all could get a little more scientific about it, and you could say, well, there's a cause and an effect to everything. So if you are experiencing suffering, it must be because you did something bad. Some of y'all could even say, well, that's the way life is, right? Sometimes you go through hardship, right? Sometimes you go through suffering, and all these are good answers. But the best answer comes from God Himself. And God answers this question for us often in His Word. In the Bible, we'll be able to read about different characters in the Bible that teach us that suffering has purpose, has meaning. And today we're going to go in depth a little bit in the life of Joseph. I don't know if any of y'all had the opportunity to study Genesis chapter 37 to 50, but that's a little bit about Joseph's story. To give you just a small recap, Joseph was the youngest son of Jacob. He was a very intelligent and well-behaved young man, but at a very young age, his brothers sold him. They betrayed him. He was sold into slavery. He was betrayed by his boss and by a lot of other people. He was put in prison as an innocent man for about 18 years. And that's, again, a recap. This is a recap of Joseph's life. I encourage you to read his life again in Genesis chapter 37 to 50. We can't go into full detail about it, of course, in this segment, but it's a really good story that will teach you that there's a reason behind suffering. So if I ask y'all the question, why do you think that Joseph suffered? A lot of y'all could say, well, because his family was bad. His family didn't love him. Some of y'all could even say, well, because God didn't love him. Because God is unfair. There's a list of things that we could assume. But today I don't want us to focus on the things that we can assume. I want us to focus on the truth and on the answer that God gives us when we ask him the question, why do bad things happen to good people? And to get the better answer on this, I want us to read Genesis chapter 50, verse 20.
You intended to harm me, but God intended it all for good. He brought me to this position so that I could save the lives of many people.
Okay, so in this verse, we have a chance to hear Joseph out. And he says, my pain had a purpose. My suffering had a purpose. My pain was not in vain. My suffering was not meaningless. God produced something good out of everything that I went through. So at this point, Joseph had a chance to talk to his brothers and sisters and say, hey, I forgive you for everything. I forgive you for everything that happened. I am here to help you, right? And he turned it all around, right? And he used what he went through for God's glory. And this is what I want us to take home tonight, well, to keep in our hearts tonight. Suffering without God has no purpose. Suffering without God has no meaning. Suffering without God is something that can go into our hearts and create in our hearts broken hearts, hearts who hate, who dishonor, who dislove. But suffering with God can become meaningful and can be experienced for God's glory, right? So my encouragement for you tonight, what I encourage you to take home from everything that we have learned today from the life of Joseph is, don't be quick to assume the worst. I'm suffering because God doesn't love me. I'm suffering because I did something bad. I'm suffering because life is just horrible and it's hard and it's just, no. You're suffering because God has a purpose. God has a meaning. God is going to produce something good and wonderful out of everything that you experience. In his word, he tells us everything works together for the good of those who love him. And I know that you love him. I love him. And I stand in faith believing that everything that I go through, everything that we go through has a purpose. So with that being said, I encourage you to take everything learned today, put it into your heart, allow it to take root, and start believing. Start believing that God is doing something good and great in your life. That's it for this week's upgrade. I thank you so much for joining me tonight. And remember, we are Youth Alive.
Well, that's a wrap to this week's Youth Alive episode. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope you guys enjoyed it. Please share this video with as many people as you can so that we can continue to share God's message. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and on our new Instagram, Youth Alive Texas. How official are we? Follow us, like a post, share it on your story, and of course, see you next time, same day. And remember, we are Youth Alive.